So you may not have the friends who can give you the $1,000 or the $5,000 to do your startup, but they do purchase things on a regular basis. So if you have a skill, like you may be a barber, you could be doing hairdressing, you could be cooking, you could be a cleaner, they can support that business because that's how you can do your startup. When I say friends and family, not necessarily giving you the money, but it's investing in your business with the skills that you have and that you don't need a lot of capital to turn it over.
Welcome to the Newcomers podcast, everyone, where I explore what it means to be an immigrant to immigrants like myself and those who support immigrants in various capacities. Today is the very first of hopefully many, many series where I'm collaborating with immigrant women in business to talk about everything immigrant women in business. And as part of that, like as with everything first, they have an event coming up in a couple of days where we're talking about money, funding, raising capital. And I have with me two of the folks who will be speaking at that event just to kind of talk about that same topic, money, because everyone wants to raise money when they're trying to build a business. I start introductions basically. I have with me Althea Samuels, who's a life coach, she talks about money mindset a lot. And I think it's one thing we immigrants kind of struggle with when we move here, because the money mindset you need to succeed in Canada is obviously very different from the money mindset you need to succeed in your home country. And then I have the second person I have with me is Patricia Giankas. She likes to call herself the senior female in tech. And I'm going to keep that intro at that because I think like when she told me that yesterday, I was just like, gosh, I love that acronym. But yeah, welcome to the show and really, really excited to talk with both of you today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I mean, I want to kick off basically with like the first part is funding, money. And I want to go at it from, and I'll start off with Althea because you talk a lot about money mindset, and from an immigrant woman who's saying, okay, I need to raise money or I need to build a business. Like, where do they even start to think about it? Because I feel like people just say, I want to raise money or I want to build a business, and no one says what are all the things you need to do to get to that point where if you go out to find money, you'll find the money, you will keep it, and you multiply it.
Great, excellent question. As a leadership development mindset coach as well, there's so many different ways that as women, wants to be have the conception of I want to start my own business. What does that's going to start looking like? The big, gap of not even somebody want to start their own business is not having the financial capital. And not having the financial capital, that's the biggest barrier right there. And that's where people like, you know what, I don't know where to turn. But there's so many different opportunities and resources that are in place, especially in a country like Canada, where we can have access to different levels of funding. And some of those could be, if you're not able to save the money and put it aside, maybe look at a business that don't require any capital to start up. Right? And again, look at friends and family. Can you invest in my business? Could be a small amount of capital. Start from small. We don't all have to start our business on the grand scheme. We can always start smaller and build from there. Smaller increment, grow bigger capital. Again, we also can look at, depending on the size of your business, we can look at going for grants, government programs that support women in businesses and helping them to do startups. There could be also, in those programs, they could be offering microloans or even loans at zero interest or a small interest amount, depending on what you're looking for in your business. You can look at angel investors as well. There's so many different ways, venture capital, to help you to start promoting your business, and people who can give those the advice, not only just the capital, but also the advice how to go about starting up your business. For me, when I decided to start up my small business, I didn't, that's my personal story. I didn't have the savings put aside. I knew I wanted to start a business. What I did, I started networking. I started building up a pool of networking, asking questions, being in the right space, being around like-minded individual like myself who wants to start a business but don't know where to start. And that's how it started happening for me. By just asking the questions, I start getting all the direction and where to go that led me here today on your podcast.
I mean, I want to build on that, Patricia. So something that Althea talked about there, where part of what she mentioned is all the various ways. I mean, the government, the banks, and stuff. But when you move to Canada, let me say it this way. When I moved here, when they talked about credit, I was like, what is even credit? Like, what is credit? But it's over time you learn either the hard way or the nice way that in itself is like one of the biggest things that will define how you access some of these things that Althea talked about. And so I want to ask you that directly, like, because you talk about that a lot, like credit score, building credit, and all this stuff. Is how do we even start to think about it? Because it feels like people don't understand it, and it doesn't help. This is my personal opinion that once you get here, what the banks do is they give you a credit card at $500 to $1,000. You've never held credit before, and then instantly, almost immediately, you start to destroy your credit before you even actually need it to do stuff like starting a business.
That's great. But can I give you a little bit of a history about
Sure.
credit? So back in the 70s, when I started to do credit, working at a bank, we did what is called ABCD client. You score the clients. And in the 90s, then we started the BAP and CAP clients, where we got, we have a list of numbers we use to calculate how long you've lived at your home address, how long you've worked at your place of employment, and several factors. And you BAP and CAP the clients. However, back at the bank and working at finance company, we can manipulate it if we like that person, because again, you're there's no numbers that you can basically have like the credit score now. So then Equifax TransUnion came along and experienced with their scoring model. And my first platform that I built, which was ScoreApp, I use a lot of my previous knowledge into building ScoreApp and using my own algorithms in order to help clients increasing their credit score, because before we used to do it manually. However, now that we have the credit score, a lot of people look at it and figure it's just five factors. It's just numbers, but they don't realize those numbers mean a lot. For instance, how long have you lived at your home address? 1 year. Well, your score will drop. If you've lived at the address of 2, 3, 4 years, you show stability. The same thing with a job, you're showing job stability in order for us to calculate the scoring model. So when I built my platform, I built it with a training module so people understand what it really means in how to get your score to be increased. New immigrants coming to Canada, what do we do? Getting a secure credit card, getting you a savings loan. But just those two are not going to help. It's how often you use it and how often you pay it back. And what are the dates that you purchased and what are the dates that you paid back to expedite increasing your credit score.
Hmm. But can I challenge you a bit in the sense that
Yeah.
how do you sometimes it does feel like the way we do credit here. So once someone moves to Canada, for example, even if I had good credit back home, it gets destroyed. Like basically, I start from zero.
You
Should that
did
be
you
happening?
I know it shouldn't. I know there are talks about transferring that data to Canada. I am in I'm speaking with Nigeria Credit Bureau right now, and that's one of the things we're looking at, how we can help those clients with the credit scores they have here, moving back there, and having the credit score there, moving back here. So we
Hmm.
are working on it.
Yeah, because also part of why I'm asking that question is again, I'm kind of trying to link in the two. Like you're trying to build a business, but I feel
Yes.
like for an immigrant who just landed here, the first 5 years of your life are very much so up and down. So you work for a year and you move to a new job because you want to get more pay, or you live in in a city for a year or 2 years and then you move to another place because you got a better job, or your wife got a better, or your husband got a better job, that kind of thing. And so then you want to start a business and the credit score says, well, you only lived there for 1 year, and so we are going to score you five points. And when you're done answering, I want Althea to talk about this, because when you have all that struggle, even if you go to your friends are similar to you in the sense that they are trying to find their way and make money too. So do they really have money to invest in your business? Like, it's such an interesting conversation, which is why maybe the answer is what Althea talked about with networking and stuff. But let me hear you first about that thing about the fact that the credit approach doesn't fit the immigrant journey. I was asking, Patricia, this is actually for you, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Repeat the question. I thought it was for Althea.
No, what I
You said
meant is that, I asked
Sorry.
two questions. I asked two questions,
Yeah.
but the first question for you was basically, when immigrants are in their first 5, 6, 7 years, they're going back and forth across places. But the credit score or the credit application does this thing where all it's doing is it's tracking you based on how stable you are. But the immigrant life is almost very unstable in the early stages. And I'm just wondering, how do you help folks who are in that scenario solve that problem?
I don't want to call it it's unstable. They're coming. They get rentals. They get a credit card. They get a secured loan or a loan, and that starts the process. Within 6 months, they have a good score. 6, 7, 8. It doesn't take forever. It's just how you use your credit, and not go shopping, not uh, applying for 20 credit cards at the same time. You just get 2 credit cards, you get a loan, and that in itself start building your credit score.
And so back to you now, Althea. You talked about friends and family, but I'm wondering, like, if you're thinking about places to raise money from, and you're here just like I've been here for 5 years, and if I look at the folks I moved here with, all of us are still at that stage where we're trying to figure out the country and we're still trying to build our savings and all that. And so if I approach them and say, hey, I want you to invest in the newcomers, I don't know if they can afford to invest in my business.
I get you. I hear what you're saying. One other thing in leadership that I like to identify is to individual that you have skills and you can utilize and monetize those skills. So you may not have the friends who can give you the $1,000 or the $5,000 to do your startup, but they do purchase things on a regular basis. So if you have a skill, like you may be a barber, you could be doing hairdressing, you could be cooking, you could be a cleaner, they can support that business because that's how you can do your startup. When I say friends and family, it's not necessarily giving you the money, but it's investing in your business with the skills that you have and that you don't need a lot of capital to turn it over. Because oftentimes we look into friends and family to say, hey, give me the money. But hey, give me the business so I can utilize my skill to gain the capital I need to move long term into my business.
That's a really good reframe, honestly, because it's a really good reframe. I mean, it's a really good way to think about it in the sense that no, I don't give me capital. Let me use my monetize skill and then use that to make money. I think it's just like there's just all the struggle with here, which is
The
like
mindset.
it's here. I feel like it's here because the model is either you go raise money or you go work.
Yeah.
You go work and make money. And then building on that, this question is for both of you. You all have been in this space for a while. You have spoken to probably a lot of people. Back home in Nigeria, I'm from the Igbo side. I'm southeastern part of Nigeria, so we're known for people who like to do business. My mom was an active businesswoman. God rest her soul. Like she was an active businesswoman, and I feel like, and I've seen a lot of female businesswomen back home who, and they do really well. And so, despite the fact that sometimes there's this conversation around that happens here where women don't raise funding and all that stuff. But I think the question I'm really trying to ask here is, why do you think women who come here, immigrant women come here and then struggle to raise funding or struggle to raise money or struggle to even start businesses? Because I do think that we need more women starting businesses in Canada.
The question is why they struggle to start businesses.
Oh yeah, it feels like it's a narrative that, oh, they struggle to start and they're not in the conversation about how do you build as part of building a business in Canada.
You see, oftentimes when I meet a new person coming to Canada, they're coming with the mindset that the environment that they left is the same environment that they're coming in. And it does take a while to adapt to a different environment. And while you're adapting to that new environment, your mindset has to shift. And without that mindset shift, you're always going to be in that space of, why is it not happening for me? Because that little tool of just shifting your mindset to understand the environment, and even though you may say, you know what, but I'm going around the same, familiar people from back home, but their mindset has shifted for the years of time that they've been in the country. But you don't know that, because all you're seeing that I'm assimilating back to my familiarity, people from my culture, but understanding that they've been here for a while, their mindset has shifted. The way they do business, the way they articulate themselves, the way they act, the way they network, the way they communicate is totally different. And that's where some of the struggle have to start unpacking in order for you to start realizing that this challenge is just a challenge for me to get to the next side.
Patricia, any thoughts on that?
Well, I came here when I was very, very, very young, so I can't relate to it. However, working with Nigerian, understanding their culture and their credit score, it's the same, if not similar to ours. So they have, and one of the things that we want to do, and I would love to be involved in, is to help people understand credit. It's not all about your credit score, it's how you work towards it. A lot of people just think it's a three numbers, but it's not. It has a lot of uh, it's not the numbers. It's what you do with it. How long you've been in Canada. Everyone says apply for many loans. You don't apply for a loan. Have one or two credit cards, but you learn how to use it. Pay it in time. Pay it prior to the payment due date or prior to the statement due date. No one teaches people. Those are the small little things that help you expedite increasing your credit score, right? Little things. And everyone wants to buy a home, which is great. You don't have a credit score, but a mortgage broker needs to explain to the clients, if you have more down payment, we can get you a mortgage. And it's education. Everything is education. And I feel that immigrants are not exposed to a lot of education, or they don't know where to go for education. That's why the IWB group is great to helping both men and women understand credit. Hence, we have books, but people don't read. You have to have more one-on-one sessions. You have to have more of these to explain to people about the credit.
Building on all that, I want to go to the next phase of this, which is part of what you all are talking about at the event that's coming, which is when you're kind of starting a business, there's all the small things that people need to do. And I feel like sometimes, I'm guilty of it. I kind of take it for granted sometimes. Legal, accounting, making sure you're tracking your expenses, all this sort of stuff. Patricia, how are you handling that today, with the business you're building? And, because it's a thing, really. And if you don't handle it well, I think in the end, it affects whether you get funding or not, right?
So I'm guilty because I am a perfectionist and I do everything myself. But I finally got a bookkeeper, I got the accountant, my staff basically take a baseball bat and say, no, you can't do this, but I need to. I write everything, and I write everything out. I very seldom use the computer. So, like I said, a senior female in tech, I do everything paper, not on the computer. And so, my staff laugh at me. They take it over. They took away a lot of the work away from me. Just let me bill. All because I would write it out on a piece of paper and then I can't find it. So seniors can't find their pieces, tons of papers everywhere. Back, I have notes everywhere. And so they laugh, but they got used to who I am. I tried to change. I tried to use the computer. I tried to use the phone, but I am who I am. Everything is printed. But they took everything from me. They organized it. We got an accountant, a bookkeeper, raising capital. They're helping me to do it. I am not a public speaker. I tried to go raise capital on my own. I mean, I did before. BDC was great. They loved one of my previous platforms. They funded me. It was great. I sold that platform. You'd think I would have learned, but I didn't. I wanted to do everything on my own. And so I cashed in my stocks, my bonds, my RRSPs. I built a 1 point something million dollars of platform. But now I have to go and try to raise capital to market it. And, I've been invited to a lot of lenders meetings, one in New York, and I have anxiety just to go. And I'm just telling you, from a business owner, we kind of we love what we do, but some of us just are not the type of person to go out and sell our product. And so we have to understand what our strengths and weaknesses are. And I have a lot of weaknesses. My strength is just sit here and build. And so I have to find that ecosystem, the right people to help me in every single part of that department, with a strong accountant, bookkeeper, raising capital. And there is a lot of capital out there to be raised. Just we don't know where to go and find it. But having a list, and now I'm having a list of all the places. And the second thing is that business owners should not be looking for money. We should have somebody else. Because when I go, if someone asks me a question that I don't like, I already got offended because this is my baby and I'm protecting my baby. And they will say, well, I'll give you $1 million, but I want 50% of your company. So, oh my God, no, 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 no. And so we are, like I said, we are too close to what we're building. It's our baby. We should walk away from it and have the stronger individuals who understand the language to do it for us.
That's such an interesting statement about like business owners shouldn't go look for money. I mean, startup founders would disagree with you. They'd be like, "Yo, like it's part of my job is to raise money." But I also hear you on the part about just because it's your baby. When someone says XYZ, you're like, "What the heck are you talking about? Like,
Yeah,
how
my
dare
baby is
you
the
talk about a
best.
product that way?"
Yes.
Out there,
So I kind of agree with Patricia, but I'm going to put a little twist to it. So if you don't invest in your business, don't go look for money. Because why should I invest in a business that you have not put your capital in? Then you won't turn over that money that I give you the way you should because you didn't work hard enough for it. Because you didn't put any money in, you only put in somebody else's money, then how hard are you going to really work for that business? So that's my little piece to that. But when it comes to a newcomer, when it comes to starting out right, I'm going to tell every newcomer into a business, go through the proper channels. Because if you don't, you know what's going to happen? We have someone here called Revenue Canada. When they start digging into your business, it's not nice. So it's better to just start it right. And even if you did not make any money in your first 1 or 2 to 3 years in your business, that's okay. Still do your taxes, still report your income, still do your GST if your business require GST. Do it right, because then in the long run, trust me, they're going to come looking and digging. And if you can't produce, then you're going to be the one owing and your business is at risk of losing.
I agree with you, Althea, and that's why I have an accountant. And I said, oh, you're so expensive. I'll have a bookkeeper. But no, forget about the bookkeeper. Go straight to the accountant because you know you're having a good set of books. And a lot of people, you know, you go to investors, they want a big chunk of your company when you've worked so hard to get to where you are. So I am at the phase where we've done a soft launch, and we're proud of what we've done without outside of family and friends investment. We are so proud of what we've built. It took a little longer, but we got there. And raising capital now that we've started, it's a different type of a raise. It's not a raise of an idea. It's an idea built. Your baby's already built. It's walking now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're kind of getting to the end of this, but I want to talk a bit about the event happening on July 30th. So both of you are speaking at that event. What should people expect to hear from you? Why should they be there? What are you going to talk about? Is Patricia going to talk about the lessons from trying to work without an accountant? Is Althea going to talk about? But tell me, what are you all going to talk about? Like, why should folks come for that event?
Well, if you are a newcomer and a new business owner, new startup, new entrepreneur, this is the event for you to attend, because you're not only just going to get information, but the information that you receive is going to bring you into a place of, I want to start my business now. If you haven't started yet, I want my business to scale and grow. I'm going to get better tools of marketing my business and branding my business. This is the event to come. Not only that, you're getting the knowledge, the education, you're building networking, you're building new connection, new collaboration, and you're getting practical hands-on information and tools to bring you into actionable steps towards your business. So that's why this is a place for you to come, connect, build, and collaborate.
And
Interesting.
can I add to learn
Yeah.
from our mistakes? So
Even
you
better.
don't make the same
Same
mistakes we
mistakes.
have made. So
Yep.
you're so many steps ahead of the game, right, Althea?
So
And
right
don't
on.
be stubborn like some of us.
Yeah. And
Oh,
you
and
know,
the
you're
other thing, sorry, the other thing I wanted to share, age means nothing. I know my high school friends are all retired for the last 20 years. I mean, I'm 71. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I want to tell women, don't stay at home and babysit the grandchildren. Go, do what you have to do because we all have so much experience. We can share our experience with others. And so I'm an advocate for everyone that, regardless of age, get out there, do something that you enjoy.
And I just wanted to add to that, you know, as a woman and you coming out into this space, you're meeting like-minded women. Again,
Yes.
it doesn't matter what age you're at, you're meeting like-minded women who are making a platform for themselves. They're building, you know, a business, they're transforming their families, they're building stronger communities, and most of all, they're building legacy for the next generation. So you can't afford to miss it.
Yes.
This is the place to be.
And I
You know,
have a lot of courses for people. Like they can, it's free. I've built a lot of courses how to understand credit, and it's all free of charge.
you know,
Just want to educate.
I want to ask y'all a question. Okay, this wasn't part of the without asking y'all a question. Because when you're all talking about this event, I just want to ask you, why did you join IWB? And Patricia, you can go first.
Why did I? Someone introduced me to IWB. At first, I was skeptical. It's another one of these, I thought it was just a meet and greet kind of thing. And it took me a while, I must admit. Then I met Silvana. Wow, she blew me away. Then I met Stephen. And I thought, I've learned so much from the two of them because I thought I'm superwoman. I could do it all. I'm at that age, I've gone through it. Don't tell me I know everything. They've brought a different perspective to my business, made me understand. So I'm introducing as many people to them. Like they're amazing. And I am so happy that I did join. and I don't remember why or how. I think, oh no, I do know. Stephen called me. I don't know why and how, and I keep putting him off. Another one of these groups. But yes, I finally said yes, met with them, and like I said, it's one of the most amazing. I'm meeting Althea and some other really great individuals, and you, Dozy. I can't say how impressed I am.
Thank you.
Well, well, for me, that's amazing, Patricia. Well, for me, a friend invited me to host an event in April, for their event, and Svetlana met me there, and she's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and I said, "Thank
She
you."
would do that. She's so
She started, she
Isn't
started
she?
talking. She started talking to me, and then I started learning a little bit more about the organization. And I went back to that friend and I said, "Hey, what about this organization that make you want to be a part of it?" And he's like, "Trust me, if you be a part of this organization, what you're trying to achieve, it will just blow it out of the water." I said, "Really?" So I reached out to Svetlana on LinkedIn, started chatting with her, and she's like, "Let me see if you're a good fit for what we're doing." And she interviewed me. She started talking to me. She's like, "Listen, I don't, just by your passion, by your voice, and you're talking about, you're the right fit." And that was it. And that led me to be here today with you, Dossie and Patricia, just being a part of WIB.
Yes,
Opened It opened doors, it gives opportunity, and it changed lives.
yeah.
yes, it certainly does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good to hear because I'm a big believer in communities, but I'm also when I look around what the immigration sector is like in Canada. That's after people land here and just helping them find their way. I'm also very skeptical about things like when I see because there are a lot of I call them snake oil merchants who just want to they just talk and no one is doing really they're not doing really anything basically. All they're doing is just can I put together a couple of people that allows me to get funding from the government and do stuff and basically live a good life. And then the people who you're supposed to support are not even can't even find their way. So just hearing you all talk about this, like it just because then when I met Svela, I struggle with her name for Christ's sake. Forgive me.
Did Okay, I have a name for her. Sweetie, honey, how are you?
Like when I met her the first time and we are just talking, I just like she's so passionate about those things. And like like when you said she called you so beautiful, that's just her. Like she just says as it is, and you just
Yeah.
like you meet someone who's telling you how she
Genuine.
feels about the thing and all that. And so it's amazing to hear this. But thank you all so much. For everyone who's listening, especially if you're an immigrant woman, especially if you live in Toronto, please sign up. The link will be in the show notes. Sign up, go for the event, sign up for the IWB, join the IW community. Because I'm a big believer. I mean, back in Africa, we say you need a village to do anything, and there's nothing like finding your village. I think IWB is a great village for any immigrant woman who wants to build a business. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning
Well
in. See
said.
you all soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.